Hello everyone, I'm doing my presentation on the wholesale auto auction. As I studied the wholesale auto auction business in my hometown area of South Bend, Indiana, I found that they have to follow state regulations and operations and organizations, just like all the other dealerships in the state. The wholesaler offers many services to the used car dealership that they serve as well to the overall wholesale auto auction industry in general. I learned from my interview with the wholesale assistant manager, Judy Kleinhens, of Wolf's Auto Auction, and actually seeing a live auction firsthand just how crazy things can get. Another person I interviewed for this assignment was Felicia Gannon, a wholesale title clerk at Gates Automotive Group, and sales manager Clint Emberton, that sends the cars to the auction from that same dealership. Mr. Emberton explained that online wholesale auctions are becoming more popular, and Wolf's does offer that service as well. The source of the wholesale profits come from the services and fees that are charged to each vehicle that Wolf's takes care of for the dealership. The employment opportunities for an AMGT graduate is not a good thing in the small city auction area unless you're the owner or you can consider working at a huge auction like Mecum Auto Auction, the largest auto auction house in the country. To begin in the wholesale auto auction business, you must obtain several things as per the State of Indiana dealership website. According to the website, the businesses must be licensed with the Secretary of State, paying fees up front with application, and no money can be refunded. Once you are properly licensed, then you can apply to get wholesale dealer plates. According to Judy at Wolves, the auction must have a federal identification number and retail merchant certificate, as well as liability insurance to be covered in case of an accident. The state website mentions that the wholesaler must be in good standings with 4 different agencies, which include the Secretary of State, the State Revenue Department, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and the State Police. The place that the wholesaler conduct businesses must be a physical building with an address. No post box offices are allowed, as well as only one wholesaler per address. Judy from Wolves also stated that there must be available to the public, dealers, and others. It has to be a certain size and have certain office furniture in it, like a desk, chairs, and filing cabinets. You must have a business phone, electric, heat, lights, and a working bathroom. The business is required to provide pictures with their location and signs showing, as well as their office space when they initially apply for their license. Another fact about running the business, it must be accessible for a minimum of 30 hours a week to the public. Therefore, most businesses post their hours of operations on the door to allow people to know when they are available. A business can receive an exemption to this if they have a reachable number on their sign that someone will answer at least for a minimum of 10 hours a week. The other thing I found extremely interesting is that a wholesale dealer must sell a minimum of 120 vehicles each year, or about 10 vehicles per month, to keep their business license valid. When I attended the auction, usually held on Wednesday at 1 p.m., the place was packed with all kinds of dealers waiting to see the vehicles that they wanted to bid on. The auction offers gas, vehicle washing, as well as some other small services. Services like towing and larger mechanical repairs are offered, but are done by another locally owned vendor. Other things offered to the bidders while they are waiting were 7 tables with seats for 4 people at each table. They had a concession stand with things like hot dogs, popcorn, hamburgers, and a soda fountain machine, in case you were hungry while you were waiting. The drivers, car detailers, receptionists, title clerk, all the managing staff are used to make sure the auction goes smoothly. Scheduling of when and where the vehicles are dropped and picked up is usually done by one person to eliminate confusion, especially on heavy auction days. To start the auction, the repo vehicles using one lane go through first, and once those vehicles are done, then the dealership vehicles start going by. Both lanes are used for dealer vehicles in order to keep the auto auction running smoothly in case a vehicle breaks down. When the bidding is going on, they have one person who takes care of the crowd while the other person is dealing with online bidding so the bidding stays current. Judy from Wolf's stayed extremely busy running back and forth to its station. This station area is used when a vehicle does not meet the reserve, but someone is interested in purchasing the vehicle. The seller of the vehicle is called, if not in attendance, to see if they would like to take the reserve off and possibly negotiate a price to sell the vehicle. After all the bidding is done, vehicles are moved to different areas depending on whether they have sold or not at the auction. The vehicles are recorded and process of getting titles and getting payments for the vehicles begin. Next, I spoke to Felicia Gannon, who is the wholesale title clerk at Gates Automotive Group in South Bend. Gates is one of the biggest used car dealerships that run vehicles through the auction from its 5 locations on a weekly basis. I asked her to take me through the process she does with the dealership when dealing with Wolf's Auto Auction. Felicia first explained that vehicles are sent over to Wolf's to go through the auction on a weekly basis. Once the auction happens on Wednesday, they fax her over a list Thursday by noon of what has sold so Felicia can get the titles ready, available, sending them to Wolf's with their runner on Friday morning. The auction is big on getting their titles right away before they will even send our payment over to us. This can create issues at times since when they take in vehicles on trade, they do not always have the titles right away. When make payoffs to the bank all over the country, for which most time the turnaround can be 3 weeks in length for us to get our titles. Then the state has requirements like a power of attorney from each customer to sign off on the title. Sometimes we can get a title that has a totally different name as the owner, or there will be a child support or a tax lien on the title, making it difficult to get those titles since you must pay off the balance before the state will sign off on the title. So sometimes they can have the runner going over to the auto auction almost every day except Wednesday, the day of the auction. No business can be brought to them. The vehicles that do not sell have a no sale fee of $10 excess, and if gas or a vehicle is washed, towed, or worked on, all those charges are sent over in the statement for us to pay. Finally, when the titles are accepted by Wolf's, then we are issued a check for the vehicle sold minus the buyer's or seller's fee, depending on the price of the vehicle has sold for. The buyer's fee can range from $60 to $195 for each vehicle, and the seller's fee range from $50 to $220 and higher, depending on the price sold at. This is the main source of profits for the wholesale auto auction. When she receives the checks, then she will send out the vehicles to Wolf's, and a folder of paperwork and then is filled out away for the vehicle. Felicia has worked in titles for many years at a credit union before coming to the dealership to become the wholesale title clerk at Gates Automotive Group. When Judy from Wolf's was giving me the tour of the wholesale auto auction business, she mentioned that the requirements for putting a vehicle into the auction with them. The proper forms must be filled out along with a copy of the dealer's license, a photocopy of the company's check, the merchant's sales tax form, owner's driver's license, plus proof of insurance and names of representatives and all the information who can handle business for the company. She mentioned that Clint Eberton is the general sales manager for Gates and that he could explain the process they do to send the vehicles to them. Mr. Emberton was my next interview to understand how and why a vehicle ends up in the wholesale auto auction to begin with. Clint explains that the vehicles that are traded into them at Gates can range from extremely new to very, very, very old, and everything in between. Each vehicle is given a value by the used car manager when the deal is done with the customer. Next, the vehicles are sent to the service department to make sure they are safe and get a multi-point inspection is done. If the vehicle will take too much work, or if the vehicle is deemed auction material, it is sent over to Wolf's to be sold in the auction. They do have a couple of smaller local dealers who purchase some of the vehicles. They wholesale out to several different vendors to get rid of the vehicles that are older and more than 10 years of age. Most of the vehicles that are considered worth $1 are sold for scrap. Those are towed away, especially if they are deemed totally unsafe to drive. Clint explained that some of his used vehicle inventory comes from Wolf, but like many of the dealers across the country, are going to online auto auction sites. Using online sites can get you vehicles from all over the country, but you must watch out for flood vehicles or damage, since once you buy it, it's yours. Transportation companies are making good money moving and hauling vehicles all over the United States for dealerships everywhere. I learned a lot about the wholesale auto auction business, and I wish to thank Judy, Felicia, and Clint for their help and guidance. Thank you.